Hello, 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 my beautiful Empresses. Welcome back to Embody Your Empress. I'm Sarah King, the founder of this podcast and Empress Nation. If it's your first time here, you are so welcome. There's a few episodes to go back and catch up on, and tons of information and thought-provoking ideas that I know you will love. So make sure you comment and subscribe so that we know that we are sharing this ripple effect in the world. Today, I'm joined by some amazing guests. And here on Embody Your Empress, we're all about learning new things, opening up to new perspectives, and tuning in deeper into our true self. So, our guests today are the perfect example, or I should say, primal example of this. We have Ben and Leah from Primal Breath and Coaching joining us. Welcome, guys.
Hello,
Hello.
hello. Thank you so much for having
Yeah,
us.
thanks for having us.
You are welcome. I'm really excited to explore this conversation more because it is a topic that I've just learned more about personally. And I know when you have a passion driving through you, the conversation changes, like it comes from more of an educated perspective. And I really am excited to share this with people out there who used to be like me, like not even 4 months ago, super resistant to what you guys were doing. And then I just suddenly had a 180 flip and I'm like, this is fantastic. This is life changing. More people need to know about this. So, before we get into the juicy goodness, I would love to know more about who you are as a human, as a soul, and how you guys came to be on this journey.
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess I'll start. I'm Ben. I'm a breathwork facilitator and NLP coach, but firstly, I'm a father and a husband. And I guess I wasn't always in this position that we're in now. I've navigated life through childhood trauma and all that sort of stuff, and those feelings of abandonment and all that, and had all different careers from construction industry to serving time in the military, and then to be medically discharged and be back in on the tools and in this reset of finding myself again. And I guess in that process, some big life changes happened, and it really forced me to face myself and reflect on who I was and how I was showing up. And I guess in that journey, I found breathwork and found myself and was able to rebuild my life, for me and for my family. And yeah, I guess get to become this person that I get to be now, which is a breathwork facilitator and coach, mentor, just helping, parents and people and anyone that's sort of stuck in that survival loop step out of survival and into safety so that they can lead themselves from, love, not survival.
Mm,
Well said.
well said. How about you, Leah?
Yeah, well, hello, I'm Leah. Um, about myself, I like to describe myself as a free spirit goddess. I love repeating this because it's the best thing that anyone has ever said to me is that they saw me as a box of favorite chocolates because you literally just don't know what you're going to get. I'm a Gemini, like through and through. So I have about 15 different personalities, which is quite difficult for Ben sometimes. But I love it because, like, it's just a roller coaster of a ride with me. Um, Essentially, I found breath work, well, we found it at the same time. I've pretty much struggled with depression, anxiety, all sorts of mental health issues, addiction, alcoholic, like all of that, pretty much since I was like an early teen. So life has been a struggle for me mentally for a really long time. And I think it was um, pretty much like after we had our son, who is almost 6, that mental health really took a dive. Um, and it took us about 3 years in the trenches to really figure out our next move. And it was a point in time where we both said okay, we need to make some drastic changes to create the best life possible for not only ourselves, but our son and our future kids. So we made the decision to quit our jobs, pack up our lives, sell everything, and we went traveling. And whilst we were traveling, we were also really exploring and finding ourselves. So that's when breathwork stepped in for us, Ben first, but me a little bit later on. I still, like yourself, Sarah, had a lot of resistance. Um, Emotion. I'm a very emotional person, so being confronted with the fact that breathwork can bring up more emotions, I was like, absolutely not, thank you. I have enough on my plate right now as a mum to a toddler. I don't want to do that.
Oh, I
But
feel that. Mhm.
yeah, it can be really confronting. But now that we have brought it into our lives more regularly, the change has been astounding, both for our mental health. I no longer suffer from the labels of depression and anxiety and ADHD and panic attacks and like you name it, that was we had it. One of us had it. So yeah, life has just changed so much more for the better. I'm definitely still on a journey of regulating my nervous system every single day, as I'm sure a lot of mums and women or parents out there can understand. Um, but breathwork every day is essential to maintain that, and it's it's an everyday non-negotiable. So yeah, I think that's pretty much me and my journey in a nutshell.
Yeah, beautiful. And then you now work together, providing breath work as a
Yeah.
couple, building a business
Yeah,
together.
Yeah.
yeah, we do. So Ben is the main beautiful face of Primal Breath. Um, he, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. Yeah. So Primal Breath was sort of it came about um, after, finding breath work and going, I want to change people's lives in this way. Because for so long in my journey, I was looking for understanding and I was looking for a way to make sense of how I felt. And when I had my first breathwork session and I released all that I was carrying, it gave me that sense of freedom. It was that moment that I was like, I've like other people need to know about this and other people need to be doing this because I've just spent however many years, with psychologists and counselors and psychiatrists on medication and all this, and it just wasn't working for me, right? And everyone is different. It works for some people and it doesn't work for some people, but those options weren't there for me, right? Well, they were, but they just like I didn't know about them. So for me, it was like I, I want to help people in this way because I know there's more people like me out there that need help in this way. So we started on our journey of traveling. We started Primal Breath and Coaching, and we started holding sessions on weekends as we were traveling. So we were traveling up the north coast of Queensland. As we were coming back, we were running sessions in the towns as we were coming back to Brisbane, and we found ourselves in Maleny, and this is where we are now, and this is where we mainly hold our sessions now. And over the last year, I've really tried to refine like what it is that we're trying to like how we can help people best. And in that discovery and learning my practice and learning how I can best help people in the most safest way, the Primal Cycle was born. And Leah beautifully blends in when we have these release to rise events where she gets to come and hold that feminine energy, and I hold the weekly sessions, which is like our nervous system training ground. Um, but yeah, the primal cycle is essentially just a nervous system led framework of breath work where we can really focus on nurturing the nervous system and building resilience and conditioning to stress, so that the bigger releases can happen in our release to rise events. So yeah, we follow that nervous system framework, and it really just allows people to explore breath work in different versions of breath types of breath work, both down regulation, integration, and gently activating into full activation sessions. And it just gives range for their nervous system to experience.
Feel like until you've learned about it, you actually don't know there are multiple types of breath work available. Yeah. Everyone is very used to seeing the social media clips of the full transformational activational sessions where everyone's got the dinosaur hands or having the full-blown screaming and bawling their eyes out. And it's really nice to know that is part of breath work. That's not all there is to breath work. And a lot of what you focus on, guys, is that actually being in a safe space first with your breath actually makes when you do those one-off sessions so much more valuable for the person. And that it, as a society, a lot of us are just breathing incorrectly. Can you guys speak into that a little bit more?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
30% actually.
30%
30% of us are overbreathers.
Yeah, which is wild. But I think, so majority of people think that just whatever they're breathing is a-okay, and that's how they're going to get by, and they don't need to think about it, and they don't need to do anything about it, and it doesn't affect their body in any way whatsoever. But as the three of us know, it can make an insane difference if you actually take the time to consciously manipulate the use of your breath. It can affect your nervous system in an amazing way, and also just the general health of your body and your mind.
What comes to me there is like highlighting that our breath is the only branch of our autonomic nervous system that we have conscious control over, right? If we could control our heartbeat, if we could control our digestion, which we can't, like we could make awesome improvements on our life. But what we can do is control our breath, right? So that gift was given to us for a reason, right? And we now know that reason that was given to us is because it's the remote control to our nervous system. So you master your breath, you master your nervous system. You learn to control your breath and use your breath in different techniques to achieve different states. We achieve different states. We can show up as the best person of ourselves because we're in control of our nervous system. Our nervous system drives our mind. So
amazing, right? And for all the busy, stressed out, burnt out, overwhelmed people out there, you have the control, you have the power right now to change that, start a different process, which is so cool. And once you know how to do it, completely free, you can do it anytime. It's a practice you can set up and put in your routine that takes over and the unconscious, and then you don't have to think about it. And it's amazing because when I started learning, I was like, I am breathing through my mouth at nighttime. So I am very conscious now, closing my mouth at nighttime, and my sleep has improved. My energy levels are better. I am more aware of where I breathe in my body. Like I was getting really shallow, especially when those triggers and activations through life were happening. Straight away, I was up in my chest and I was almost breathing through my shoulders. Like that's how shallow it was. And I can talk to myself through it now. I'm like, okay, remember where we should be? We should be lower. And it makes an instant difference. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
It's a gift.
It is a gift. And when, like yourself, Sarah, you've only just recently learnt about it a week or two ago. But as you learn more and you start becoming more aware, that's the first thing, being aware.
Yeah.
Breathing through your mouth, or are you breathing through your nose? Are you breathing short and shallow up in your chest, or are you actually sending those nice, slow, deep breaths all the way down to your belly? And what happens for you when you do have those peaks of stress, of anger, or even like when you have the lulls, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're just like in bed feeling like I cannot do anything. Like, what can you do? There's so many things that you can do, and a lot of us feel like there's nothing we can do but just write it out. Whereas in fact, there's so much you can do. There's so many different techniques that we just have in our little tool belts that only really take not long at all, like maybe 5 minutes. If you have more time, great. But a lot of us feel like we don't have time to do this at all. But if you put aside, 5 to 15 minutes in the morning before you go to bed, and then have these little tools in your belt for when you do have these activation moments in the nervous system, then we do manage to make life just a little bit more simple. And also being able to have all of this and being able to show the people around us, and particularly show kids, how to regulate nervous system is something that is crucial in this day and age. We live in society where stress is just unavoidable. Everybody gets stressed. In every part of your life, there's one way or another that we're going to be stressed. And we think it's essential to be able to teach our kids how to move through these stressful times of our lives, and that's all about being able to control your nervous system.
Yeah. Well, like we hold like breaking generational patterns as like one of our forefronts, It's the first statement in our niche. It's like we help people break generational patterns, and it's like because we know it's important. We know that we wish we had this as a kid, right? We wish that we had someone that could model this for us because we might not have had to go through the hard times in our life, whilst we're so grateful for those times because they've taught us what we need to know so that we can be the best parent for our son. But it's like we want to see the ripple effect, we want to see the ripple effect of being able to help someone, be able to show them the power of their breath and bring them that awareness so that they can break a generational pattern in their lineage and then teach their kids and their kids teach. And I know that over generations we learn more and more and more and more. So if we can empower all the knowledge that we know right now onto our kids, imagine what our kids are going to be able to empower onto their kids and then their kids onto their kids as that generational pattern breaks. So yeah, it's super important just to have that nervous system awareness. And Leah said it perfectly. It's like awareness is the biggest gift when it comes to any sort of nervous system or breath work sort of work or somatic work. It's like having an awareness of your state, you can change it because when you know where you are, like we're humans, we want to understand how we feel. We want answers for the way that we're feeling. And it's like it just comes from awareness and just taking time to self-reflect and really just be like, okay, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? What's my body doing? How's my body responding to the thoughts that are going on in my mind? And what can I do to change it? And a lot of the time it can be simple things like your physiology. A lot of the time when someone's depressed, their shoulders are slumped, they're looking down, they're looking below the horizon of sight. It's like if we can start to just be aware and go, okay, where am I in my body? What's my posture like? Fixing my posture, checking my breathing, and just making those subtle changes. You'd be surprised at how fast you can change your state just from those subtle awareness markers that we actually have and we can be aware of.
But it's so beautiful. And in reflection, just having shared at the start that I was so resistant, I can see now for me, I was resistant because my nervous system was way too activated for the processes that people were trying to take me through. And in the process of me doing the down regulation healing and then coming again back to the practices that are more activating, I was able to let go. Like my mind was able to go offline. It could release the tight strangle grip it was trying to control the last things in my life and really hold on to. And I was able to go into that safe zone and to close close those trauma cycles that have been just open and flapping around. And super interesting over the past week since we got very deep into breath work, I have felt different. I have felt physically different. I have felt mentally different. I have felt emotionally different. And it was almost a surreal feeling. Like I know I'm walking on this earth, but am I walking on this earth? Like it almost shifted like my reality, like next
Yeah.
level, which was very cool. And to know that that is a result of having healed, having broken those generational traumas, having known that I'm choosing different. And that's so empowering. There's so many people, like almost everyone, we could say, is walking around with some kind of trauma, whether we are aware of it or not. And to know that there are tools out there that are so accessible and not scary when you allow yourself to be in that space and to be held. And you both spoke about mental health. And mental health is something like I'm very passionate about. There is a lot of holes in the mental health system that we live in, and we are a fortunate country compared to many others out there. And yet there is a blanket rule and a blanket checklist that everyone gets funneled into, and every single person is so unique and so individual, and no checklist is going to be helping the majority of people out there. And it's amazing how many people that have gone to breathwork or turned to breathwork that have personal testimonials of how much of an impact it has had on their mental health, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, I've had some people like, and even for me, this was my experience, but I've had multiple people say that they feel like they've done more work in one breathwork session than they have in years of top-down therapy, being psychologists, counselors, all that sort of stuff. Because and it makes sense, and I know why, and you know, this is my true belief is mindset work on a dysregulated nervous system is like screaming affirmations over a fire alarm, right? If your nervous system is jacked, your mind can't hear what the mental change that you're trying to change, or you can't really make sense of how you're feeling to be able to explain it in a way that's effective that we can shift, right? Because we know that when the nervous system is activated, the prefrontal cortex can shut off, which is our logical thinking. It's our way to navigate the world, which is why a lot of people react instead of respond, is because they don't have that logical part there online right now, right? So this is where like I said at the start, like it's not for everyone. Some people that top-down therapy works, right? Some people it does. For me, it didn't. For me, I needed bottom up. I needed to start with the body. I needed to be able to like turn that prefrontal cortex off and just express what was stored in my body. And this could just be like depending on how much someone is holding on to. But um, like I think what you were saying before is like you're walking around almost like you're on a different earth. It's like because you feel different in your
Well, you
body
are.
because we suppress all this stuff into our body and it becomes weight that we carry around,
Yeah.
right? And when we release that weight, it's like we feel lighter, like we feel like this different version of ourselves. And that's the bottom up approach. It's like naturally your mindset starts changing because you've released what's in your body, right? So, and that this is the bottom up approach. It's like, okay, if I just deal with the weight that I'm carrying emotionally and suppressing, then that mindset can start to come online and be like, actually, I feel different now.
Yeah, and just to jump in, it definitely does have a ripple effect
Yeah.
because the affirmations, right? They don't work if your nervous system isn't regulated. But once you start regulating your nervous system and you are aware, you're aware of your breath, you're aware of your body, you also become aware of what happens in your mind. And the things that have changed for us just with the way that we speak is just phenomenal. When we are in a regulated state and we pick ourselves up, it's like, oh, I can't do this. It's like, well, actually, hang on a minute, I can do this. I'm just finding it quite challenging, and that's it. It's reframing, and once you're aware of the patterns, yes, you can change that. But if your nervous system is dysregulated, you're never going to be able to really be in control of your mind.
Yeah. And also, like, from the relationship and parenting lens, it's like, so often and not now, when, we have a disagreement or something happens, like,
Shaking her head, everyone. She's like,
we never disagree.
yeah, right? Because we're only human, and in healthy relationships we still argue because everyone still has different beliefs and different views. And it's like, sometimes, like, I'll react and respond, and then afterwards I'm like, all right, I've got to take some time and go and, like, calm myself down and regulate, and then I can come back and be like, hey, look, I can see that what happened there was I wasn't thinking rationally because my nervous system was activated. And again, this comes to awareness. It's like I couldn't I didn't have what you needed in that moment. I have it now, and what I want to say is, like, I'm sorry for the way I reacted, because what I really wanted to do was respond, but my nervous system and my prefrontal cortex wasn't online because something that was said or something that happened activated me and triggered me, because we all still have triggers, right?
Absolutely.
We all still have triggers, whatever they feel like. For us, it's like, for me, it's like I still hold these abandonment triggers that can show up for me, and if I can get triggered like that sometimes, I can switch off. Like, my prefrontal cortex switches off. I step into this sympathetic state and I say things that sometimes I don't mean. And then I pause and I downregulate and I go, oh, wow, like, I can see that I didn't really have control over my mouth at that time. And, I need to take a step back and acknowledge that. And being able to acknowledge that to each other and understand where that comes from is huge. So it's like, it's all well and good one person doing the work, right? But when two people can do the work and then understand each other and the nervous systems and work with each other's nervous systems rather than our our triggers and our egos, it's like you can mend so much faster and so much more efficient, like, effectively too.
Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. And I just want to add in, if that's okay, if I can share a story of one of my, I think, most transformational breathwork sessions. Is that okay? Can I share this?
Oh, okay, Leah. Sure.
So I think it would have been about a year ago, maybe a bit more than that. So, of course, as a married couple, we've been together for 8 years. We have arguments, we have disagreements, we have wobbles, debates, whatever you want to call it. It happens to everyone. And like Ben said, it's really about how we move on from it, how we come back together. Now, there was a period of time where our arguments would get really quite heated. Ben would go to this, like he just said, he would be like, okay, time, I need to go for a walk, I need a break, I need some air to think about this. And for me, that was a big trigger. That was a big trigger for an abandonment wound that I didn't know that I had. So I would end up in this really distraught state. A lot of the time, I'd be in the corner crying. Ben would come back, try and console me, and I would just push him away, just be like, don't come near me. And I almost got into a state of, what would you say? Like, I was scared. Um, and through a breathwork session that I did on a couples retreat that we did actually, I went to this time of that trauma and I was able to close that loop. So I won't go into too much detail about what happened um, in that trauma, but I was able to close the loop and can now rationally think that when Ben walks away and needs to take time, I'm just like, okay, he's not abandoning me. He's taking time, which is perfectly okay. And those situations have never happened again, like ever. And it was just astounding because it would happen quite often. Almost every time that we got into some disagreement, it would just get heightened and heightened and heightened. And I would feel abandoned. Um, so to be able to close that loop, and it's amazing. Like obviously we constantly have to do work, right? But this particular thing has never happened again. It's completely closed, it's completely gone. I have absolutely no thoughts in my mind ever that Ben is abandoning me. And that was all from a past trauma. It was past life trauma, but I was able to see that, feel it all again, understand it from a different perspective, and now it's it's essentially gone. It's healed. It's the loop is closed.
Yeah.
And now our uh, disagreements just look completely different.
Yeah. They do.
So
And they just get better and better. Like the more that we work on this, the more that we integrate nervous system awareness into our life, is the better we get at this.
yeah,
And it's like breath work is the tool. The practice is actually nervous system work. Like it's nervous system coaching. There's more to breath work than just breath work. It's like nervous system coaching as a whole, right? Breath work is the tool that we use. So
The what's coming to my mind just as you're saying that, Leah, was well done to you for recognizing that. A lot of people would take that cop out route of that's just the way I am. Like this is how I am. And
oh, and I've been there.
yeah,
I've definitely been there.
We have all been there. And I love that what you are saying and you're being so honest about is you have the choice to make. And you went and you found the tool to help you make a different choice. And in doing that, you have healed. And healing is possible. Healing is so possible, especially with this modality.
yeah.
Can we talk into the age-old debate of men and women? Because I love that this modality is bringing men and women together. They are in healing together. It's not men over that side and women over that side and go and have your own circles, which is great. And they are fantastic in their own spaces. What I have noticed about breathwork, and one of the reasons I wanted to go and learn more about it was I saw how many men were attracted to this, and that sparked my curiosity because I've had so many women, especially in the spiritual wellness space, going, men aren't doing the work. They're just not doing the work. How are we ever going to get good healed men around here? They're not doing the work. And I'm like, that's just not true. That is not true.
Yeah.
We know so many beautiful men that are healed and just amazing people because they have put in the time and the effort and have healed themselves. So yeah.
That said, there's such a big shift that's going on right now in the masculine paradigm,
Yes.
right? And it's been so long needed because the generations before us and that old paradigm of masculinity that just doesn't suit this day and age now.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why we're seeing more men come into the space, I believe, is because the generational patterns that were given to most men now don't fit this world, right? We've adapted and we've changed and you know, women work and everything now. All these changes that have happened for women for the better. It's like men couldn't be the same people they were that their grandfathers were and all that. So we just get to we just get to shift now into this new paradigm, and in doing that it's like men don't feel as comfortable in this world right now, so that's why we're seeing so many more men breaking down and finding a way to release and express themselves. And again, for me, it's like I needed a way to express myself, right? Express myself in all my power and all my, you know, my, like, be able to scream and let this out in a place where I felt safe. And breath work was that for me. It gave me that safety. It gave me that outlet for me to be able to scream and yell
And
cry, definitely. Because, and that's the thing, is men need to feel vulnerable, right? And what I think we're doing by bringing these men and women into these sessions, and why they work so perfectly with both men and women in a session is because there's polarity between the masculine and feminine, right? So we need that polarity to balance it, balance the energy. And when we balance the energy and men can feel safe enough to be vulnerable in front of women, then we start to see more men softening. And because that's what we just need men to be able to be softened, to be able to be softer as well. And women to be able to hold their men and allow them to be soft.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Well, you know, men need to be able to hold women in all of their emotions through all of their cycles.
All their 15 personalities.
Yeah. And learn to acknowledge and not take it so personally that it's just, you know, our women can have all different emotions at all different stages of their cycle, and us men need to acknowledge that and allow them that space.
Yeah, yeah,
For
absolutely.
me, I feel like it's redefining masculine as the term.
Yes.
Because masculine isn't just being a hard face,
Mhm.
keeping any emotion, any thought, any feelings behind an iron wall and just pretending they don't exist, because that is not a true masculine to me. My true
Yeah.
masculine will go there and will be expressive and be vulnerable and show the emotions and know that I am the safe place to do that, and that creates more harmony together for the feminine and the masculine.
Yeah, definitely. In a couple of weeks, I've got a 1 day men's. It's like a rite of passage, and for me, it's actually this is about shattering the armor that the men that are coming on this day are wearing. It's like just shattering it so they can just see what it feels like on the other side for a little bit, you know, and hopefully then go back to their family with this softness and a bit of vulnerability, so they don't have to step back into their family with this wall and this armor on. So, you know, it's going to these sort of things so that men can really experience that.
Yeah. I just want to speak into what you kind of just said before, Sarah, is over time, the stigma of being masculine has changed and feminine has changed, right? And we can go back through time and look at all the different stages of masculinity, where you're, you know, the hunter-gatherer, you're the provider, you're the warrior, all of that sort of thing. But the one thing that is the same throughout, the one particular word that stands out for me is protector. And the masculine, well, for me particularly, the masculine is the protector. And that does not mean warrior. It does not mean you have to go out there with your armor and protect your family from all of the outside stresses of the world, all of the outside emotions, all of our own internal emotions. That's not what it is. It's being a safe space. It's being a safe space for your family and for your friends so that everyone can feel protected and safe in their own world, in their own life. And to be able to be that safe space, you need to be, well, first of all, you need to feel safe within yourself. But you also need to be vulnerable, like Ben said, and absolutely accept the fact that we all have emotions and we are all entitled to feel every single emotion when we feel them. So, and that then comes down to being able to hold and be soft for your women, for your kids, for your partners, for the rest of your family and friends as well. So I think protector is a really beautiful word to sum that up. And then speaking into the feminine, wow, like again, over generations, it's changed immensely, right? I know for my grandparents, it was very much seen as, you know, you have your role and you're to be silent. You don't have an opinion. Just make us food, clean the house, do what you're supposed to do and provide the children, and that's it, right? And then when it comes to my mum's generation, women started to come out and be like, hang on a minute, I have more than that. I can give more than that. However, it kind of went a little bit beyond that. And it was like, well, I have to do everything. I have to stay strong for my family. I have to show my kids that I can work and I can do all the housework and I can do all of this and like list it all, and I can do it all without it affecting me because I'm a superwoman. And that doesn't work either.
It's abandoning the feminine.
That's right, it's abandoning the true feminine. And to really be able to land in the true feminine, you need to find the balance. And this is why I call myself a goddess, is because I've been able to find my own power. And to find your power is incredible. You find your own voice in a way that is not intrusive. So you can speak your mind clearly, and give your opinions and talk about your feelings and be vulnerable. That's the biggest thing in both feminine and masculine, vulnerability. But also accepting the role of nurturer. So I'm here to hold space for my family. I'm here to provide them with compassion and love and empathy. And I can hold that space for them when they need me to. But I can also do all the things that I want to do. I can be that powerhouse of a woman if I want to be. I can create my own business if I want to. And it's finding that balance. That is the modern day feminine. And also being really in, this is probably going down a different rabbit hole, but really being in tune with your feminine body. And this is something that's coming up massively throughout the last few years, is learning about cycles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a massive point for me at this point in my life, is learning about cycles. And even for Ben too, he's done so much learning, it's ridiculous. Like, I never ever would have thought that any man would know anything, well, as much as Ben knows about women's cycles. It's ridiculous. I think Ben knows more about it than a lot of women do.
Well
These,
done.
these
Like that is
day and
around
age.
the world.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
But understanding your own cycle and your own emotions and everything to do with that, and that ties into breathwork as well, and your nervous system, and it all ties in together. And it's just astounding when you can take the time to heal so that you can step into your feminine, how much safer and more open the rest of your family can be for you. And then also just, I know you asked, like, you've seen that the masculine and the feminine, when we do both do the work, how they come together. And I think that has a lot to do with individual work, obviously, the nervous system, how we discussed before about being more conscious of the way that you speak and coming back after disagreements and all of that sort of thing. But it also comes down to how many of us have masculine wounds and feminine wounds from childhood, from our teenage years, from past lives, whenever, that we have absolutely no idea about. How many of us have wounds from our mothers that we would never even think would come into our relationships this day and age? How many of us have a lot of us women have masculine wounds, you know, when that's from fathers, abusers, relationships, anything, you know, and no matter what that trauma is, let be it big T trauma, little T trauma, our body holds on to it, and it is then projected onto the people that we love.
And I think adding on that as well, like I think what really shifts for all, I'm going to speak to the women in this situation that with, you know, masculine traumas, when they come into a space that's facilitated by a man, and I always try and balance my helpers as like a 50-50 of women and men, because I know that just coming and breathing and taking you, like putting your guard down and allowing yourself to, like your nervous system to settle into that moment, be held by men, will heal masculine wounds or begin that process of healing masculine
Yeah.
wounds just there, right? So like again, we're when we say like coming to a breathwork session, there's so much more that can happen in a breathwork session just by the intention of who's holding the session, you know, and the co-regulation that can go on. Like there's so much that can go on in a session. I think that's why it's beautiful to have men and women in these events.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I was just having this conversation with my partner yesterday. We're talking about retreats, and I said the best retreats I've ever been on has always had a masculine energy there because it holds that container in its fullness. Otherwise, it's always a little bit off kilter. You need an anchor point, and they were like, "Oh, but you know, some women don't feel safe. You know, the traumas that they through." Like that is literally, I'm like, it's literally the healing piece of the puzzle that gets missed along the way. Is you have to have the whole energy there, otherwise, it will never be completed. So,
Yeah.
There's
Polarity, right?
Yeah, there's a time and place to have your women's circles and to have your men's one-day retreats and all of that sort of thing, but
At some point they've got to come.
they've got to come together because you can do the breath work, you can heal your masculine wounds from when you were a child, but then how are you going to be open to it again? So to then be able to have that masculine energy right there in front of you, once you've gone through this journey and opened up this loop again of these wounds, to then feel vulnerable, to then come out of your session and be held, like physically held by beautiful men. Beautiful men that come to you and be like, I see you. I see the work that you're doing. I see you. I feel everything. I'm here for you. You're safe. To hear those words from that opposite gender, whatever you're healing from, is so incredibly powerful that you literally can't speak into how powerful it is until you've been there and you've felt it. It's beautiful. And to witness is even another thing as well. I've personally being at the sessions, I love holding space and I do a lot of energy work with people through these breathwork sessions, but to be able to witness, like sometimes I turn around and Ben's down on the floor hugging women and they're just crying and they feel safe with him. And then for them to come out of it, and we don't know what's happening in their breathwork, right? I have absolutely no idea. But our intuition knows. We're like, oh, Ben, I think you're needed over there. That person needs a masculine right now, you know, and vice versa. But to then listen after the sessions and be like, look, I'm just pulling this out of thin air. It's no one in particular, but this person be like, oh, I just went on this journey with my father and I just really needed someone to hold my hand at that point. And then Ben, you came over and you held my hand at that point. And it's just like, it's profound. It's really beautiful.
You
So,
just actually can't make it up.
no,
No,
Like
you
no.
cannot make this shit up.
you couldn't make it up. The things, that scenarios that go on that, like you say, in the moment you don't know how someone is traveling. You just have the inner knowing of what you feel you need to do to support them. And yet when it comes to sharing afterwards and it's like it all clicks in, you couldn't make it up. You actually couldn't.
No.
And it's interesting, we went through a practice together where Ben was helping facilitate, and we had to all line up. And I was in front of my partner, and he's very much my protector. And you went to lead me away, and he did like a little flinchy thing, and the words echoed through my head, Ben, like, "Don't worry, bro, she's safe." And I'm like, that is what he needed. He needed to know that I was going to be okay with another masculine. He didn't need to have his guard on, feeling that protector energy for me. He knew in that moment that your energy was soothing it all and that everything was going to be okay. And it was tingling in the best way to know that men can communicate like that, and have that what's the word, that what is the word, like, I've got you covered, you can do you. I'm stepping in, like I'm
Reassurance.
holding that. I'm holding that container, which was so magical.
Yeah.
Well, it's also just being able to see someone feels really vulnerable in a situation and just be like, oh, look, man, I see you. And the way that you're
Yeah.
feeling, anyone would feel like that. And it's okay. And I want you to know like that I've got you. And if anything feels uncomfortable, you can share it with me with openness. And I think that's really important to be able to say to a man because a lot of men are just like, oh, I can't be vulnerable. Men don't cry, right? It's that old
Yeah.
masculine paradigm. It's like, oh, men don't cry. It's like, well, man, actually, it's one of the first things you did when you were born. When you're born, you cry, you breathe, and you cried, right?
Yeah. It's the
So,
most natural thing. I cry every day.
yeah, yeah.
True. Me too. Very much in flow there. And that's so beautiful. In typical life, men don't hear that. They don't
Mm.
hear those words. And if you're listening right now and you have any masculine in your life, play just those words to them and let them know that they are seen and they can be held in that space and they're allowed to feel what they feel.
Yeah.
That's the ripple of change in this world.
Mm.
All right. Leah, you mentioned right at the beginning, just to take us back a little bit, that every day breathwork is part of your routine, part of your non-negotiables. Can you just give
Yeah.
us a short snippet of what that encompasses for you?
Yeah. Just give me 1 second because my nose is dripping.
Hey, fever.
Hey, fever. Yeah, so breathwork is absolutely a non-negotiable. Um, I still definitely have times where it's a challenge, 100%. Particularly when my nervous system is heightened. Ben's like, go do some breath work. And I'm like, I don't want to do breath work. But that's the most important time. Um, I guess what is most prominent for me now is the times where there's a few moments. So in the car after school drop off is an essential time for me to do some breath work to regulate my nervous system after the chaos of the morning. So just on my drive home, and I mean, we live 7 minutes away from school, so it's not far, but it's 7 minutes I can take to just inhale and deeply exhale so that when I get home, I'm not in a heightened state and I can continue on with my day without being frazzled. Yeah. And then also at night time, I really like to do it in the shower. Exactly the same thing. So inhale for 5, exhale for 5, and I try and do it for my whole entire shower. And sometimes that's a really long time. If you're having your everything shower. Um,
I was going to have the everything shower. Mm-hmm.
and it's a challenge at times because a lot of people, when they have their shower at nighttime, it's like, oh my God, okay, now is the time I can actually stop and think. But what if it was the time where you stopped and you didn't think? Ooh.
Phrasing.
Yeah, so that's an essential time. We have a little lamp in our shower. Sometimes we put those, what are they? Like it's like a, you can change the color of it and it makes the ceiling look all pretty. Little lamp thing, candles, music, all of that to really set the scene. And
Mm.
I mean,
Our nervous system responds to certain setting.
yeah, and this stuff is not essential. You don't have to do it. But I really like to try and romanticize my life where possible. I think that's a big thing women are kind of stepping into right now, is creating the time in these short periods of time where it just feels amazing in your body. So they are the two main things that I do every single day. And I actually do these. You probably don't know I do them, but I do. One thing that I have done in the past and I'm re-implementing now is my time before I even get out of bed.
Mm.
So the last few months have been very stressful. Um, we went on a 4 week family holiday, and if you have ever done a 4 week traveling holiday with a 5-year-old, it's
In the snow.
in the snow. It's like stress all the time,
Yeah.
all day, every day. And then Christmas and like we just moved house and all of this sort of stuff, plus going back to school. So I kind of lost myself a little bit there. And we sat down, and this actually just happened last night. Ben was like, "Hey, I think something needs to change." And I think you need to bring your breath work back in first thing in the morning. And I was a little bit, again, I don't like being told what to do, full stop, right? And he's not. It was a suggestion, but instantly I'm like, "Rah."
Yeah, and I think this is a perfect example of how our nervous system hears when someone suggests something, right?
Yeah,
Is my language wouldn't have said you need to do this. It would have been a suggestion of like, hey, maybe this is something that you could do if you wanted to.
it was
But because
exactly
it
like that,
like
yeah.
obviously because it's like, I said, hey, I think something needs to change, It's like nervous system like, ah.
But you know what? You're absolutely correct. But the reason I am replaying it as it's something I need to do is because I've been telling myself this for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been like, "Oh, I really should do that. I need to do that. I need to do breath work." I know that's what I need to do. So this morning, we all woke up a little bit earlier. I had, I think I took a little bit of extra time. We agreed on 30 minutes.
55 minutes later,
I
yeah.
had a really bad sleep with really bad hay fever. I needed to have a hot shower to try and clear my nose so I could breathe.
It's completely fine. It's completely fine. It looked like you had an everything shower this morning.
I didn't. I
Oh,
just stood there with essential oils to try and open my
to be
and
fair, it looks like you have an everything shower every day.
oh, stop it. He's stuck
Well,
in
every
a
shower too,
brownie
man.
point.
It's okay. It's not just for the girlies.
Anyway, we digress. So, yes, this morning, breath work, I did 15 minutes of nervous system regulation breath, and I already feel like it's changed my day.
Mm.
And this is going to be something that I'm going to be implementing again, re-implementing into my daily routine.
Mm.
Now, on top of that, I obviously am aware of my nervous system throughout the day. One thing that is a little one that helps, particularly as a parent, is the when you feel like you're getting a little bit frustrated, time's of the essence, and we're getting a little bit heightened. One thing I really like to do is I pick up on it and I take a deep breath. I can't right now, my nose is blocked. And in my head, I count down from 5 as I exhale before I react. So imagine, inhale, and then I'm 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, how can we tackle this right now? Instead of instantly being like, okay, my nervous system is jacked right now and I'm gonna react on that. That's not gonna get anyone anywhere. It's gonna result in activated kid, activated husband, me activated more, bedtime's gonna be later, we're gonna go to bed grumpy. Like it's a ripple effect. So implementing just these little things throughout your day, there's always a way to find time. And this is the biggest thing for me is I don't have time. I'm so busy just being a mum that I don't have time. But I've got 7 minutes in the car in the morning. I've got 10 minutes in the shower at night. And because I'm so fortunate to have a really supportive husband, I can take 15, 30, 55 minutes in the morning to make sure that I come out and present myself to my son, to my husband in a regulated state. Yeah.
And that goes back to what you were both saying at the beginning. A regulated state is good for everyone around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For you, it's good for you. It's good for the kids. It's good for the extended family. It's good for the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's other things to add to that as well, because we literally filmed some content on it this morning, right? This morning. And this is some pattern things that people do and they don't even realize they're doing it. That's so it keeps their nervous system in the loop that they're in, or in the stress or the sympathetic state they're in. It's like some people sit there and they'll brush their teeth and they'll like, and they'll just be just about punching themselves in the face with a toothbrush, right? And it's like, what are you in a hurry for? Right?
Yeah, are you being chased by a bear? No,
Just
it's
slow down,
okay.
just slow down, or like, loading
The
the
washing
washing machine, and
machine.
they're just like throwing it in, and there's no
God.
softness, or scrubbing the dishes. It's like wiping the bench, like all these things that we unconsciously do with so much enthusiasm, like it's an emergency. We forget that that's actually our nervous system responding to, like, outwardly responding. It's the same way our breath is affected by our nervous system. When our nervous system is in a sympathetic state, our breath speeds up, just like every other action that we do. It's a message from our autonomic nervous system through our peripheral nervous system to send peripheral nervous system, somatic nervous system, to send the signals to our body, our muscles, to activate. It's that fight or flight. It's our body responding. Yeah.
I have never thought about it like that.
Yeah, pretty
Wow.
crazy. And once you start picking yourself up on it, it's crazy. So like I know, and again, it comes back to I know a lot of mums feel this way, and I'm sure a lot of dads do too, but I know a lot of women will resonate with this is that I don't have time. And that feeds that feeling of panic and like you need to do things fast. And by saying, this may trigger some women by saying, hey, just do things slower. That a lot of women are going to be like, no, like I don't have time for that. I've got so much to do. I don't have time to put the washing in slower. I don't have time to clean the bench slower. But when you actually start doing it, and you won't understand until you do it, is yes, it may take you 5 seconds more, but the feeling in your body when you start implementing this in the smallest changes throughout your whole entire day, I guarantee by the end of the day, you will feel like you have accomplished more.
It's all the 1%ers.
Yeah.
But also, like, that's energy, right? How much energy does it take to run around the house and, You know, like if you were to look at your heart rate over a period of time where someone chooses to clean the house or do all the things that they need to do and they're doing everything in that sort of state, what comes after we do that? Burnout,
Yeah.
right? So what if you were able to do everything at a nice slow pace and rest, and then you have more capacity for your kids and your family
Yeah.
because you're not burnt out?
The
Because your
choices.
nervous system isn't now dropping into a dorsal vagal state.
Yeah.
So, you know, and these are all the sort of things that we teach and, you know, through our coaching programs and through our breath work. It's like in our 3 memberships, it depends on the depth that you're willing to go, you know, 3 months, 6 months, 12-month commitments to dive in. And in those tiers, like depends on the depth you want to go on to, like, you know, changing the way that you operate in the life that you live. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
We don't just do transformational breath work, we do functional breath work.
yeah.
So how can I work with you? How can Ben work with you individually to incorporate these small changes throughout your life, throughout your day, to make big changes?
Yeah, because some people just aren't aware of these things.
Oh, 100%.
Like the cleaning thing, like you said, you never thought about it. It's like just bringing awareness to that stuff can change so much.
Because when you think about it, our nervous system, we have our sympathetic nervous system, our parasympathetic nervous system. Our parasympathetic nervous system is when we're calm, it's when our body is resting, digesting, we're safe. Yeah? That's where we feel the safest and the most amount of joy. And it's also the only time where, oh, now I've forgotten, defensiveness stops or lowers, right?
Yeah.
But then you have the sympathetic nervous system, and that's your fight, flight, and freeze. So traditionally, your fight, freeze is when you're in danger. You're in danger. You've got a giant bear right in front of you. What are you going to do? You're going to fight? What is it?
Running. I am running away.
Wait, what's run? Oh, flight. So you run away. So that's your nervous system. Your body is being flooded with adrenaline, and everything else shuts down.
Yeah.
Your digestive system shuts down. Like your thinking shuts down. You go on the defense because you're about to die.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? However, that's not the way that the world is anymore. And unfortunately, a lot of people are living in this sympathetic state because it's all the little triggers throughout the days that put you in the state.
Yeah.
And if you can teach your body that you're not being chased, you're not gonna die, it's okay,
Yeah.
it's safe, then I don't even know what to say. It's just like the results are profound. To be able to live in
Start to step into safety from survival.
yeah, and when you're in your safety, you can embrace your masculine and your feminine, and you can be there more for your kids. And it's a roll-on effect. Everything just happens beautifully after that.
You
But
get to play with your identity and what lights you up. Like
exactly, get your
part
power
about
back.
identity
Yeah.
is like stripped down. Or how do you get to play with who you are, who you desire to call in, what lights you up, what fun and joy you get to have if you are living like in survival mode. You can't. There is
Yeah.
no possible way. So I feel like when we go into the vision boards and the manifestations and we get hyped up all on that, especially at New Year's when we're all very heightened, or most of us, I can't say all, very heightened over Christmas and everything's been going on, and then we try and jump straight into that. It's not effective because
No.
our body is not ready for it. So it's a beautiful way that you're describing, a way to live that actually brings us into alignment, that actually calls our true self forward, that actually lifts us up to that higher self that is waiting to step in and have a play at this human life. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I have some Empress and Emperor questions for you.
Cool.
So the first one is, how do you embody your Empress? And how do you embody your Emperor?
How do I embody my Empress? Definitely like my shower time. That's a beautiful time for me to love my body. I am learning to really be one with my cycle. I exercise to do with my cycle. I feed my body to do with my cycle. And I really take time to love my body. So self-massage at night time. I get these really beautiful body oils, and I just take the time to intentionally love my body. And also,
Beautiful.
I think it's really important. This is something that one of my beautiful friends, who is my doula, she's actually suggested that I implement this into my routine, is womb massage. And it's a beautiful thing because a lot of women have um, trauma and limiting beliefs and all this negativity towards just this lower area of your body. And that doesn't necessarily mean just your womb space. It also means like that lower belly region. Like, how many of us as teenagers, young adults, look at that lower belly being like, oh, I hate this, you know? And in like on the outside, we're looking at just the way that it looks, but that hate goes deep into the body and into that womb space, and that's where our femininity is, right? So I've been really trying to take a lot of time into loving my body physically and sending that emotional love through to my womb space and to my whole entire body. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to do with yourself. Just to, yeah, be able to hold yourself and to send yourself so much love and gratitude for everything this beautiful body can do and has given. So that's definitely something that I love to do and feel in my goddess self. And another thing is taking putting a little bit more effort and taking pride in the way that I present myself. And it's so easy to roll out of bed, chuck on a pair of jeans, a t-shirt, chuck my hair in a ponytail, don't put on any makeup because I'm just going to school. But I really find that putting a little bit more effort into the way I present myself helps me feel into more of my feminine. I can still wear a t-shirt and jeans, but I know that the way that I hold myself, the way that I speak to myself, the way that I just float through this planet is more of that lighter presence because of everything else that I do in the way that I present myself. So,
Mm.
yeah, I think that's pretty much all it's about. It's really about loving your body mentally, nutritionally, exercising, and just the way that you present yourself and how you love yourself. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. How about for you, Ben? How does your
Yeah,
imprint?
for me, it's like making sure I'm aware of burnout, right? Because as a man, and traditionally we feel like we carry so much responsibility and stuff, and in carrying all that responsibility, we forget to take time for ourselves. And when I say time for ourselves, I don't mean, going to the pub and sinking 12 beers with the boys, like that kind of thing. It's like actually taking time for myself to be like, I need to get some movement. I need to, go enjoy myself with some men that I can have a healthy conversation with and be able to reflect off each other. So for me, it's like, I've just started going back to the gym, which is good. It gets my movement. Staying aware of my breath and making sure like my state isn't in that survival pattern. I play volleyball on Wednesdays with a bunch of guys up here, and it's just a good way to exert that energy and get that fitness. And every Sunday, me and a bunch of the guys get together for coffee, and it's like our little men's circle where we just get to keep each other accountable and share what's real for us in this moment. And yeah, just learning to be really open and practicing really trying to hold my wife and my son through their emotions without it feeling personal for me. So it's the yeah, so and like I said, it's about just as a man acknowledging um those patterns of like feeling needed all the time or ha carrying all this responsibility and then in that losing yourself and forgetting to take time for yourself. So yeah, I just really make sure I'm taking time for myself with people that have a positive impact on my life
Yeah.
and not a negative impact on my life. I try not to have those negative influences in my life so that I can stay as grounded in my of who I get to be and focused on that person that I get to be. So
I love that. I love that. It's simple and it's real life and it's really effective for everybody.
yeah.
Everybody.
Oh, and we eat really well. We're really conscious of what we eat, and I think that's big for mindset
Yeah,
too, and who we get to
absolutely.
be. So
Yeah. Health is like top, one of
mm,
the top priorities in our lives.
yeah, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. And if you had any parting words of wisdom just to leave everyone with today, what would they be?
Mm,
Be unapologetically yourself and practice awareness.
yes, that's what I was
Mm,
going to say. Awareness.
Yeah,
Just start being
beautiful.
aware. Just take notice, this is the only body that you're ever going to get in this lifetime, and the only person that's going to be there for you for your whole life.
yeah,
So get to know your body.
yeah,
Get to know the amazing things that it can do. And the
Mm.
way you can do that is by just starting to be aware.
yeah. You're right. Actually, you said, and I always say this to people, it's the only person that will ever be there for you 100% all the time is yourself.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone that you need to please, it should be yourself the most.
Yeah.
Oh, that is the perfect ending. Beautiful. How can people reach out? How can people work with you? What's the best way to be in the primal surrounds?
Yeah, cool. So you can jump across to our Instagram or Facebook and have a look at some of the content that we're creating. We have I've got a website as well. You can get on there and have a read a little bit more about us and about the primal cycle and the framework that we use for this nervous system healing and breath work.
Which
As
is primalbreathandcoaching.com.
slash welcome. Yep. So it'll be in the comment, I believe, for this podcast. But then for our events, we've got some awesome events coming up. Actually, this Friday, the 20th of February, we've got our Release to Rise, which is our monthly breakthrough event, which is a 4 hour event with harpe, cacao, breath work, and a meal and sharing circle. And then every week on Tuesday nights is like our nervous system training ground where we move through the nervous system in different states and gently expose to stress and build our nervous system capacity. And then obviously that cycle ends with a release to rise and we repeat and we repeat. So that's what we've got coming up this week and in the coming weeks. But then also we've got our 1 day men's rite of passage on the 7th of March. And
Yeah, we've got some pretty exciting things in the works
oh
for
yeah,
the rest of the year.
yeah,
Um, so I would highly recommend
just following along.
just giving us a little follow because, yeah, I'm super excited for what's to come for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
People can always reach out in your DMs as well. If they're like, hey,
Yeah.
what's
100%.
happening? It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the
Slide into
easiest
the
way.
DMs.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you both for sharing your thoughts, your feelings, your wisdom with us today. It has been such a beautiful conversation, like the ebb and flow that it just brings. And it literally, the whole conversation has been an awareness. And so for you to say at the ending, awareness is such a beautiful thing to be holding space for. Literally, you are living and breathing it and have brought it here with us. So everyone who listens to this, they're going to feel this awareness. It's going to be embodied. It's so beautifully beautiful. That I just thank you both so much for sharing your time and energy here today.
Thanks,
Thank you
Sarah.
so
Appreciate
much,
you.
Sarah.
Thank you for having us.
It's been an honor having this time to talk to you and to share all the beautiful things that we've learned and get to share with everyone else. So thank you so much.